This country succumbed to fear after 9/11, a fear that cut us adrift from our democratic moorings of justice and the rule of law. We must take steps to ensure that this never happens again. To speak to this issue of accountability and the needed steps for restitution and responsibility, I would like to introduce to you Rob Crawford, coordinator of the Washington State Religious Campaign Against Torture.
Thank you, Reverend Remole, and let's see, whoops, get this right here. And welcome, everyone. Thank you to Plymouth Church, its staff, the Peace Action Group here at Plymouth, and to Adele Reynolds, who helped us set up this, and Janice and other staff members. This is Janice. We are the Washington State Religious Campaign Against Torture, and we were founded in 2007 in response to the increasing information that was available that the United States government had undertaken practices of torture in the so-called War on Terror. We are associated with the National Religious Campaign Against Torture, and we have been involved in many of their efforts. First of all, our banner project here in Seattle. Many of the people, many of the churches around Seattle had constructed banners. We worked hard for an executive order when President Obama came into office, which we achieved. It was certainly due to our efforts. And we have been engaged in education programs and many other activities in the greater Seattle area. And I want to thank all of the members of, we call ourselves WSRCAT, and the supporters that are here in this room this morning. We're calling this press conference because we believe that our country is at a crossroad. And it's a crossroad in many respects. Our issue is torture, but we believe that our country has never grappled with the moral, the political, and the global implications of the use of the adoption of torture in response to the terrorist attacks of 9/11. Even though there has been periodically considerable media coverage, and even though a broad anti-torture movement, lawyers, religious organizations, human rights organizations have attempted to gain national attention on this issue. There's only really been briefly periodic public attention and a debate, occasional opinion editorials, letters to the editors, rare debates in Congress, even more rare statements by public officials. And for the longest time, the media even refused to use the word torture. Every other euphemism that you can imagine was used. Perpetrators and their defenders still will not use the torture word. And even the so-called, what the media is now referring to as the torture report, the word torture is not used in the Senate report, even though the evidence that they present is so clear that torture was being practiced by the CIA. Even in 2009, which was the last time that there was significant attention to torture in this country, there was only brief attention. Part of this was that our leaders refused, I say refused, to take the moral and political leadership for us as a nation to look at this. In fact, President Obama famously, infamously said at that time, as a country, we needed to look forward, not backward. He and his Attorney General refused to obey the obligations under the United Nations Convention Against Torture to initiate criminal investigations. And the President even opposed the creation of a nonpartisan commission of inquiry, which National Religious Campaign and WSRCAT had also supported. In the short, the administration said that now that we've adopted this executive order and we are no longer torturing, let's basically forget about it. The Senate report, however, which we strongly applaud, we believe is a historic opportunity. One more opportunity, and perhaps the last opportunity that this country will actually pay considerable attention to torture. Desmond Tutu said in a letter, an open letter to President Obama a couple of months ago, calling for the release of this report, said that it is unclear whether Americans will turn a blind eye to the effects of its actions on its own people and on the rest of the world, or if it will take the necessary steps to recover the standards on which the United States was founded. Our hope is this, that, and the WSRCAT believes that the report does offer one more chance for us to recognize and act upon this terrible harm that has been done in our name. We believe that if Americans have the courage, we say courage, to look at what was done in our name, and it is in the report, that we do still have the capacity for moral shock in response to the evidence. We believe that Americans do have a humanitarian sensibility inspired by our religious traditions, that torture is a grave offense against humanity and an attack on the sacredness of each and every human being. Our fear, however, is that too many Americans will simply not care. That we will fall into a silencing indifference. That the deep instinct towards denial of unimagined harm to others and to ourselves will prevail. A denial and indifference, that is the stuff, of course, to make us bystanders. We fear that. We cannot accept this, and we are here to add our voice that torture is more than a question of the efficiency, of the efficacy, of whether it worked or not. That is why we say, if torture is not wrong, then nothing is wrong. Please do not misunderstand. Our religious and humanitarian sensibility requires also a political understanding